Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. And we've been looking at the life of Daniel, the life of Daniel. And there's a progression here that we see. Today we're going to look at the third step, so to speak. The first step was where in his heart he determines not to defile himself. He makes that heart decision, I'm going to follow Jesus. I'm going with Jesus all the way. And then that's expressed in his character and his actions, and people observe that. And the men who are against him, who are jealous of him, because that will happen if God blesses you, you'll be subject to jealousy. And so the men who are against him decide, we're only going to find something wrong with him if it has to do with his law. And they notice that in his law, or what his faith, so to speak, Daniel prays to God. He prays towards Jerusalem 3 times a day. He prays. He gets down and prays. So they make this elaborate scheme to have the king pass a law that no one can pray to anybody else except to pray to the king. And they make that a law. You'd be thrown into the lion's den if you do. The king signs it. The law can't be changed. Now they have him in a trap. And now the question is, and David learns of the decree, he knows of the decree, that if he prays, he could be killed. Now the question is, his commitment to God is going to be tested. And listen, our faith will always be tested in the fire. You'll always go through a test. And the question is, will your faith withstand the test? Are you going to stand for Jesus when it's easy, when you're in church, so to speak, but when you're on the job, when you're in that schoolroom, when you're in this other environment, and to stand for Christ will mean bad things for you. It'll mean suffering for you. It'll mean loss for you. Will you still stand for Christ? This is the test. This is the true test. And listen, throughout the 2,000 years of Christianity, people have withstood that test and even died to stand for their faith. The question is, will you stand for your faith? It starts with a decision in your heart. It reflected in your character, but then it's going to be tested. It's going to be tested by having to pay a price. Are you willing to pay a price for your faith? So Daniel, in verse 10, this is what it says. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, so he knows about it. He knows you go in the lion's den if you pray to any god. You're going to go in the lion's den. No ifs, ands, or buts. He knows that can't be changed. There's no way out. It says, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. Powerful, powerful. Nothing, even the test, even the threat of death was not going to change who Daniel was on the inside. It was not going to change his faith. He was not going to be one thing in one environment and another thing in another environment. My friends, that is true faith. That is true belief. Your faith and my faith. If you're living in America, it's not really tested very much. But it will be tested. It will be tested. And it is tested in little ways. And in other areas of the world, it is tested in severe ways. There are people living in fear that they will be killed, but they stand for their faith. So I encourage you today to develop that type of faith. It begins in your heart, becomes part of who you are, and it withstands any test. You have to do it before the test comes. Because if you don't prepare yourself before, when the test comes, you will not be able to stand. And my friends, I just look at the news. I look at the trajectory of the world and of our country here in the United States, and the tests are coming. The tests will continue coming, but be like Daniel. Let's stand strong from the inside out, no matter what the consequences may be. God bless you, and I will see you tomorrow.